So yeah, I really love Micah Parsons. I think that he is the best thing that has happened to this Cowboys organization in quite some time. And that is no exaggeration. Especially the attitude he brings to this team. I think that he is the vigor that this team has been looking for. And the reason I say that is because, like, you have leaders. Like, sure, you have D-Law that goes out, says his stuff, and he'll go out on the field and either miss or hit on how he does. You have Dak, really good guy. You can, run through a wall for him. Like, he has that. But I think the key factor is there's a consistent level to this, right? And that's something that I want to make this clear, is that I feel like with Dak and D-Law, like, there's an extra gear of their leadership that they can get to. And I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm not trying to make this as an indictment. It's because of how crazy Micah is, right? Micah has been amazing for the Cowboys. He just recently set a record for the quickest player to get to 15 sacks, which is unbelievable. And he's going to just continue moving up from there. He's been a pinball all around the defense because of how much he's just going everywhere pretty much. But then you have him do this. So he was going to be going on Undisputed, like doing something like every Tuesdays of that caliber. And he did a no-call, no-show, and then he went out and said, the reason why I'm not going on there is because we just lost our starting quarterback. I am going to be the leader of this team so that we can make sure that we're going to be okay. And that, my friends, is exactly what I love to see. That is what the Cowboys have been missing, right? Like, that guy that's like, listen, guys, we need to get our stuff together because we need to win football games. And that is exactly what I want to see. And I love how he's rubbing this emotion on everybody else, because you can see that Micah is like 150, like high, like 200%, like full throttle when he gets into these games. And he's not afraid to tell it like it is, and that's something that I admire with him. And, if you've followed me, I'm a Penn State guy. I loved Micah Parsons when he went there, seen him evolve there, and I'm happy that he's on my football team. And the thing is that the Cowboys need to build off of that energy. Like, if the offense, like, if they had that same type of level in the sense of, okay, like, I'm not saying that they had to do this, okay? And this, again, is not an indictment in a sense, but if I saw Zeke going out there saying the stuff Micah was saying, or we would have a whole different perspective on these people. And again, there's a level of professionalism that is in this league, and I'm not trying to act like Micah has to be afraid. Screw that. I don't give a damn. The fact is Micah's not afraid to tell it like it is. He's not afraid to speak his mind, whether it be on Madden and his ratings, the fact that he is taking the initiative to speak his mind and be like, listen, guys, we need to get this thing together. Or, you know what, guys? I understand that Dak's down. I get it that we're going through all these injuries, but you know what? We're going to make sure that we're going to get through this. If we can get through these next 4 games, we're going to go ahead. We're going to play smash mouth football. We will be just fine. Like, if that if that holds, and let's say the Cowboys, by the time Dak returns, gets 2 wins or 3 wins, that's going to be something else, especially if Micah Parsons is the reason for that. Because Micah Parsons, as he's going through this, is making a case for defensive player. Oh, Space Cow, it's too early to say that. It's not. Here's why. Micah Parsons and his team are in a situation, looking at this from a third-party perspective. The Cowboys don't have a starting quarterback right now because Dak's hurt, right? This offense is going through some motions because they have guys that are hurt. Their wide receiving core is weak right now because guys are hurt. And they got some nice running backs here. However, if the Cowboys can offensively do the bare minimum to get the Cowboys to score points while the defense does its job and Micah Parsons is doing his thing and this defense is looking really damn good and he's getting numbers, guys, he has a storyline for Defensive Player of the Year. Think about it. The media narrative will be Micah Parsons is the superstar talent that is keeping the Dallas Cowboys afloat. Hey, the reason why the Dallas Cowboys are, let's say Dak comes back in like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, right? So in those 5 games or 6 games, let's just say the Cowboys go like 3-3, right? The Cowboys are 3-4, and the reason they're 3-4 is because Micah Parsons led them to that. He was taking up the mantle, and the proof, and he shows it. Now, it's not like we get there and Micah's kind of just like, and we just happen to get there. If Micah's leading this thing and our defense is killing it and Micah's getting those numbers, there's a storyline there. Micah Parsons is the reason the Cowboys season stayed afloat, and then Dak Prescott came back and the Cowboys were able to do a little bit of something, right? That is something that I think a lot of people don't realize with this team, is that, you know, many of us think, and myself included, hey, I think Micah Parsons will win Defensive Player of the Year this year. He now has a window for that. The door has opened for him. It's a matter of does he walk in. And it's a matter of also how the team looks. Like, if the Cowboys are a sub-500 team, well below sub-500, nah, like, they're not going to look at that unless, like, Micah has a ridiculous season. But yeah, I think that Micah Parsons is a chess piece that can seriously turn the tide. And we saw that last night, or, you know, a couple nights ago, I should say, against Tampa Bay. If the offense did their thing, let's just say, if this offense scored any semblance of points, that game would have gone so much differently, because the way it happened was it felt like the Cowboys were starting to get something going on offense at the beginning. Hey, they're running the ball well. They're moving the ball efficiently through the passing game. Not as much as I would I would like to do it a little bit better, but still. But they're running the ball effectively. Their offense kind of goes away from that, and your defense gets gassed out. But you hold Tampa Bay to 1 touchdown, and the rest are field goals. Like, if you score a touchdown, the whole dynamic of that game changes. Maybe the Cowboys win that game. I don't know, but the fact is the Cowboys were more or less they were in the game scoreboard-wise for a huge chunk of it. But as fans, we felt as if, hey, we were way too out of this. But let's see what happens this Sunday. If we happen to win, which I don't think we will given the circumstances around Cincinnati, but if this defense is the reason we win this game on Sunday and Micah Parsons leading the way, you got to keep an eye out. Because there's a real opportunity that Micah Parsons is going to be on the path for a Defensive Player of the Year. And he's going to have a bigger argument, especially if the Cowboys stay afloat and they manage to get to the playoffs, or they get above 500. You see what I mean? Like, you got to think about these types of things, because at the end of the day, this is the stuff that the media votes on. Like, you look at last year, hey, Joe Burrow wins Comeback Player of the Year because of how electric he played towards the end of the year, even though Dak Prescott at the beginning played very well. It's it's what happens at the end result that leads to that, right? Another thing is like the insane stats. The reason TJ Watt won Defensive Player of the Year was because of how many sacks he had. If Micah Parsons was close in that number, odds are he probably wins Defensive Player of the Year as well. And that's not an exaggerated claim. But at the end of the day, guys, this is why I fucking love Micah Parsons. He could be the reason that this team holds this thing together. And as much as I'm still in the fundamental belief that this season has been toast because of how much our offense doesn't look that good, if there's one guy that can change the course of a season, and I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible, and I'm not trying to drink Kool-Aid, I'm just being real with you. If there is one guy that could change the whole needle of how the Cowboys are looked at, it's going to be Micah Parsons. The media will be forced to talk about it. Hey, Micah Parsons is the reason the Cowboys won, and I'm okay with it. I think the Cowboys needed a guy like Micah. I think they needed a strong defensive presence and leader. Like, not the leadership factor, but also the talent level equated to that, to the point to where you have a guy that's just a straight-up dog. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and have a good one. Goodbye.